This is the article that I wrote with Secretary Norton when I was a fellow. A little unusual to have a sitting secretary write an article on something, but this was published in the American Journal of Law and Medicine in 2004 that basically captured what our ideas were. And the idea was that America's public lands and waters could be the gateway to better health based on the premise that these activities that they encounter while they're there are activities for a lifetime. And could it have a very positive public health benefit? This is an article, this is a very important report. The California Parks people, you must be in here somewhere, and I know that Ruth Coleman's coming in tomorrow, right? And you're very, I'm sure you're, oh, there you are. You're wonderful. I'm giving you kudos here. This was written in 2005, August, I believe, if I recall. And this was, I think, a very seminal report that no other state, I think, has really put out to this degree, which talked about, and if you don't have it, I mean, it's easily Googleable, I don't know if that's a word, but I guess you can Google it. And it's available as a PDF. It's about 50 pages long, and it truly outlines the connections, all the things that we were talking about. It refers to the American Recreational Coalition's statistics with regard to participation in the outdoors, and the numerous studies that are involved. But again, this, I think, is an excellent document, 50 pages long, that really captures what I think is the connection between the two. But again, and kudos for doing this, but it would be great if we had California Department of Public Health, right, on there. Again, it's the same thing, but you guys are taking the lead. No time to wait for them to come along. I can understand that. Here's an example of some areas, some very simple things that can be done. And the folks from Forever Resorts are here too. And I know they've heard this message before in the last 5 years. They did something, many of these things very similar. So this is a walking map for Washington, D.C., which I thought was really fantastic, put together by the American Council for Fitness and Nutrition. It's got a map of all the monuments in the area. But what's unique about this map, right, is this. Is that it doesn't tell you how far things are in miles. It tells you how far things are in steps. Right? So who's much more likely to go from Union Station to the Senate office building if it's only 765 steps? No problem. Right? Or who wants to go from the Lincoln Memorial to the U.S. Capitol? 5,100 steps, no big deal. Right? That's a half a mile for most people. You ask them, you want to walk a half a mile? No, let's take a cab. Right? Psychologically, it's a very important thing. So this is the thing we worked on when I was there as a fellow, and you can see the key facts. 1 mile is about 2,500 steps. 1 mile is 80 to 100 calories burned. These are the medical things that you'd like to know if you're going to end up doing this. But again, these step maps, I think, were, I don't want to say they were a flash in the pan, but I think that they lost momentum because there were fewer and fewer people actually pushing them to be distributed, right? So even the folks here at Cavallo Point, right, I looked at your map yesterday. It would be wonderful, right? Like I'm staying up at one of these things way up the hill, right? I'm like, oh my God, I got to take that little golf cart all the way down, you know? No, I'm kidding. But I'd like to know how far it is to the front desk. Here's some of the Colorado State Parks. Anybody here from Colorado State Parks? Yeah, come on, you guys are, this is your thing. Colorado State Parks put this map guide out for all the state park trails that they have as a result of many of the discussions we had on an ongoing basis. What's unique about this, here's an example, Fountain Valley Loop Trail, 2.2 miles or 4,400 steps. In daily life will be by increasing participation in physical activity, which is inherently part of a pleasurable leisure experience and has meaning aside from exercise. Right? This is where we have the most potential. In other words, leisure, play, recreation, sport, contact with nature. Right? This is still the premise that I work with. Even 5 years later, this is still something that rings absolutely true, and that's why I think that the connection, that's why I think Derrick asked me to be here as well, is to continue to talk about this connection between health and recreation and see if we can find the next steps and what to do. Many opportunities to promote these activity visits, whether they're at the parks, either through nature-based recreation, canoeing, rock climbing, etc. But now, ultimately, do we need to do more research? The answer is yes. And the key to promoting parks and recreation as a critical link to public health lies in convincing health insurers, medical providers, and hospital entities on their role in preventing chronic disease, making that link between the two, right? Because we talk about who's got the money, right? Everybody in this room says, well, I got, the well that I go to is either the federal government or some nature grant or a nonprofit grant organization. But what if I told you, I said, forget all that, go to Aetna. They got some money, that's that check, right? WellCare, Health Point, any of those. Why? Because it's a distinctive connection between prevention of chronic disease and the use of the outdoors.